What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. It's good to be live with you again on Growing Smart, the Stronghold podcast. So as you can tell, I'm doing these every single day, putting them everywhere I possibly can. And the goal is that I keep them short and keep them helpful. Very grateful for the couple of guests we've had on. I actually used to do an audio podcast that I just uploaded to iTunes and a bunch of other places. For a while, it would just be me recording random thoughts on my phone, pretty much is what it was, but had pretty good steady listening going on there for a while, and got away from it with COVID and thought, well, I'll do this thing now with some video. And again, I hope you are finding it to be helpful. Today, what we're going to talk about, as you guys start getting logged in here and joining in, if you have any questions or comments, please throw them in the comments, and I will see them and get to them. What we're going to talk about today are tools. The tools, especially that have helped me and many of my clients save a lot of time, save a lot of money, and helped us market better on social media and just in general for our businesses. So today's podcast is really for entrepreneurs who want to know the best tools that are worth having in your toolbox. As you know, there's a million tools you could have, and there's a million tools you could learn, primarily, except for maybe one or two of the tools I'm going to feature today. Primarily, the tools we're talking about today are very easy to learn. I'm going to give you tools that I feel like if you don't have them, you could really be missing out. There's a couple exceptions today, and I'll point out which ones those are. But for the most part, the tools I'm telling you about today are things that I feel like you are, if you don't have them in your toolbox, you are really losing out. All right, so I'm just going to highlight a few. This was actually one of the very first, I think it was the very first Tactics Thursday topic we had in my private client group. We talked about these tools. We went into them in depth, and I showed them and highlighted them and answered questions. And many of the private client group members then went and started using them. And again, because these weren't tough to learn tools, they're using them right away, and they're enjoying them, getting great feedback on them. So without further ado, let's get into our first tool. So the first tool today is Snappa. Snappa. So what's Snappa? So many of you may be used to Canva. Canva is a very easy to use graphic design program. It just has a lot of stuff built in. So if you're trying to make brochures and things like that, people that maybe aren't that graphic design talented like me have always kind of leaned on Canva. But Canva still requires, in my opinion, quite a bit of graphic design element to really make it shine. So again, if you're trying to make a brochure or something, Canva is great. But for just social media content creation, I know there's other ones like it out there, but I have found Snappa to be the easiest tool. And you can check it out at snappa.com. What Snappa does, it's so cool, is it's already got the main sizings that you're going to use for your social media posts. So if you're going to make a Facebook post, if you're going to make a YouTube cover, if you're going to make really any social media post at all, you just click it and it's already got the template there. And then it also has every stock photo you could ever want already in there. So you don't have to go and buy all, like I used to be part of Dollar Photo Club and all those things. It's got all the stock photos out there are in Snappa. And then it also has templates. So if you even want some graphic design elements already built in, and you're looking at a Facebook post or a YouTube cover, it's got thousands and thousands of templates in there, which I use all the time. It is literally the simplest thing I've ever used. I will go in and create most of my graphics on Snappa in under 2 minutes. I'll just go in, grab a template, change out a picture. And over time, I've gotten better at using the text editors and things like that. But really, you don't have to have any graphic talent at all. And Snappa can make your social media posts look really crisp and eye-catchy and all that good stuff. So Snappa is free to try, and it's $15 a month. By the way, I'm not a Snappa affiliate. I would be, but I'm not. So I'm just telling you what the tools I use are. So for example, this thing you're looking at right here, with my little designs and all that stuff. I made that in Snappa in 2 minutes. It will remove the backgrounds. Snappa will remove the backgrounds from pictures. So you can drop in photos of your face and remove the background or things like that without knowing how to use Photoshop or anything like that at all. So number one tool I recommend for anyone doing any sort of social media content, especially if you're not graphically inclined, Snappa. All right. Our next tool is LastPass. LastPass might surprise you, but it is a password encryption tool. So you go to your Chrome store if you use Chrome or Internet Explorer, whatever you're using for your internet browsing, go into the store and download LastPass. I think you can just go to lastpass.com and they'll link you to what you need. It's totally free. So LastPass will remember every password you use. Now, people will download LastPass and they'll start going in and typing in all their passwords like it's some sort of password book. Don't do that. Just the next time you go to log into a site, LastPass will drop down and say, do you want me to remember this login? And you say yes, and it's incredibly encrypted. Also, whenever you go to create a new login, you don't have to come up with a new password. There's every little login area, it'll have a little LastPass symbol there. And if you click it, LastPass will create a highly encrypted, excellent password unique to that site and remember it. What this means is it's LastPass. You never have to remember your passwords. The only password you ever have to remember is the password to unlock LastPass. So you can go into your browser and unlock LastPass and have every site automatically logged into with that. And if you have trouble or you're logging in on a different device that doesn't have LastPass installed, well, you have two options. You can install LastPass on that device and then unlock it and access everything you want. Or you can go into your LastPass on your computer, open the vault and see all of your passwords and get them there and change them there and all that type of stuff. I remember before LastPass, many years ago, I've been using it forever. I actually think Tyler Johnston of Cole Media told me about LastPass. So if you're listening, Tyler, thank you. He told me probably about a few of these tools. Great guy, probably one of the best video guys you could ever use as Tyler. Cole Media. He didn't know I was doing that. So now he has to listen. So LastPass, I used to sit there, I used to type in my passwords just like you guys probably do, write them down somewhere or keep a notepad document with all my passwords on my computer, which by the way, every hacker knows how to look for. And not only was I risking all the security in the world, but really guys, the issue is time, right? The issue is time. I would sit there typing passwords. If you added up all that time, I mean, we're talking about tens, 20s of hours, right? Hundreds of hours, probably over a matter of years of typing in passwords. LastPass has ended all that for me. I just don't understand when I see people typing in passwords and I'm watching them like, oh, that's not it. I type it again. Oh, that's not, I type it again. I'm like, please get LastPass. Like you just would have saved 30 minutes of your life today from all the times you do that. So LastPass is our second tool today. Our next one is Zoom webinars. Zoom webinars. Now, you may be zoomed out through all this COVID. You're like, I'm always on Zoom. And Zoom meetings have probably become an irritation for you because all these people are logging into your Zoom and you're having to mute them. And how do we not understand how this Zoom etiquette works yet? And it's frustrating. It's frustrating. Well, Zoom webinars, which is only $40 more a month from your initial Zoom fee of $15 a month. Zoom webinars is a webinar. So it's kind of like what I'm doing here. It's just you talking and everyone logs in and they have a chat where they can type just like normal Zoom meetings. And then they also have a Q&A. And if they put something in the Q&A, it pops up to you. And if they put something in the chat, everyone else can see it. But no one can see them unless you unmute them, unless you bring them on. So it's great. So if someone raises their hand or you want to bring someone in one at a time to have a conversation, it's great. Zoom webinars also can be broadcast just like Zoom meetings to a live stream. So I used to do my live streams with Zoom. I would just broadcast it live, share it live. You can connect your social medias to it with Zoom webinar. It also has a lot of different features as far as creating registrations and giving people email reminders. It really is the end all be all of webinar software right now, even though technically there's better stuff out there like Webinar Jam and things like that. People are familiar with Zoom. So you send someone a Zoom webinar link and they just get it. And they already have probably the software installed on their computer and they log right in. They're just surprised when they get there that you can't see them on camera. And you're delighted that you don't have to sit there muting everybody. So if you're doing any sort of training, stop with the Zoom meetings, get Zoom webinar, unless you're just looking for like a small meeting of say 10 or less people and you're going to have a lot of interaction. Zoom webinars is actually the way to go. And like I said, you can bring people onto the program, the webinar as you go. All right. Our next tool is Kartra. Now, this one is a little bit more complicated. So if you have a piece of paper nearby, I would have you grab that now. By the way, if you have any comments, any questions at all, go ahead and drop them into the comments on whatever social platform you're watching this on, and I will see them and respond. Before I tell you about Kartra, which is my all-time favorite tool, it's going to take a couple minutes to run through. It may be the tool that most changes your life. We'll pause for this selfish plug of my private client group. Interestingly, the program I use to create those little videos is not one of the tools that I would feature today, because though it is helpful, I would probably not buy it again. And I'll just leave, because I have nothing nice to say about it. I will leave it off the live stream. All right, so Kartra, with a K, Kartra, is the only platform of all the tools I'm mentioning here, and really the only one I think at all that I've ever used that I am an affiliate of, meaning like I could send you a link to get a free trial of it and I would get credit if you bought it. You don't need to do that through me. But the reason I tell you that is because I actually believe in it that much that I just wanted to be an affiliate, just to pay homage to Kartra. What Kartra is it's really for entrepreneurs or anyone that does any marketing. It is an all-in-one stop shop for everything you could do. So Kartra does email platform. It's an email platform. That's what's called an ESP, email service provider. So you can send out your blast emails and all that stuff through Kartra, just like you do with Constant Contact or MailChimp or anything like that. Kartra does that. Kartra also does sequencing. So like if you want to have something built where, hey, if someone opens this email, they get this email. If they click this link, they get this other email, and you have all that like behavioral automation and stuff like that. Infusionsoft, which has a different name now, but Infusionsoft used to do. Infusionsoft was $300 a month when I was a member. And that's all it did. So Kartra does all of that sequencing as well. It saves all of your contacts in a CRM. It allows you to tag them and put in a lot of information. It also has an online store. So you can have products in there that people buy. It connects to credit card processors. And just like Etsy or Shopify, it's got all your store elements in there. There's a time and place to use Shopify and Etsy instead. But if you just needed to sell a product online, anything, you can use Kartra. What I really appreciate about it most is these next two things. One, it is a landing page creator and editor, and it's very, very easy to use. So you can, and it has tons of templates already there. So if you're making websites on Squarespace and Wix, well, you can go into Kartra and pretty much do the same thing. Well, not pretty much, you can, it's just a little different of a setup. And I find it to be better. I've made websites with Squarespace and things like that. I definitely prefer Kartra. It's really a landing page thing, kind of like Lead Pages is, but you can build entire websites. Matter of fact, if you go to strongholdtraining.com, my entire website was built using Kartra. Just a bunch of pages put together. They all share the same menu bar. They all share the same domain name. So Kartra works for that. The next thing that I love most about Kartra is that it allows you to upload videos and create training, online training programs, online training portals. So I've got a lot of the trainings I do, I can sell through the Kartra store, and then people go in and they can access those trainings and take the classes sequentially and all that stuff right there in Kartra, where I used to have to use, what did I use? I don't remember. One of the other popular one, which was really good. You could make it look really good. The platform I used to use, and I can't remember it now. It's too bad because it was really good, but it was just too complicated. Where Kartra is really easy. You can just drop in your videos, and people can just go through them. And what's great is, since all these tools are together in one platform, the tracking, the analytics are all together. So if I send out an email and someone clicks on it, then they go to the landing page and then they watch the video, I can see when they clicked, I can see how long of the video they watched, I can see all of that stuff. So Kartra does all of that. It's also got affiliate stuff put in there, tons of, you can connect everything you want to it. So it really is the end all be all. And it starts at only $99 a month, which is insane. Now I have a higher level account because I do a lot more in it than the $99 package allows. But most people only need the $99 package. And here's the question you just have to answer for yourself. You're going, should I spend the $100 on Kartra or not? It really comes down to this. Are you spending more than $100 with other platforms and that Kartra already does what they do? So when I bought Kartra, I was spending money on a video platform. I was spending money on a training platform. Like I said, I was spending money on an email platform. I had all these things. Kartra was a no-brainer because I was able to go cancel all those things and actually save money by using it. So that is a long endorsement of Kartra, but of all the tools I'm showing you today, it has been the most impactful for me. All right, our next tool is Buffer. There's a lot of tools like this out there, but Buffer is a social media posting program. So if you are posting to Instagram, Facebook, and your personal page, your business page, and different groups on LinkedIn, on Twitter, if you're posting in all those places, then you're going to want a tool that you can schedule a calendar of your posts. I really get a little bit aggravated when I see people saying they spend 2 or 3 hours planning their social media posts every day. You should just spend the first couple of days of your month and kind of lay out a calendar of what your social media posts are, and then go in and pretty much build them out, other than things like live streams, obviously. But you can go in and build all those out and schedule them and just let them automatically run. The first platform that I knew of that did this was Hootsuite. And there was a bunch of analytics, and Hootsuite got pretty in depth, pretty complicated. And so what Buffer is really the answer to Hootsuite that simplifies it. Now, my actual preferred platform is Agora Pulse. I think Agora Pulse is the best platform for this type of thing. It just tends to be more expensive. Buffer is only $15 a month. So if you're really just getting started in social media posting, or you're just posting and that's all you're doing, you're not doing in-depth analytics, you're not doing anything too fancy, you just need the simplicity and the time saving of having your posts go out to multiple platforms and scheduling, Buffer is the easiest. You can do it right from your phone. It will change things up based on the platforms you're posting to. And for $15 a month, you get Buffer, and you get Snappa. Most of you have the social media kit you need with just Buffer and Snappa. That's usually all you need. So $30 a month. Most people have everything they need to create great posts, schedule them, and have their content go out if you're just looking to do some content. So for $30 a month and 1 day a month, you can create a month's worth of content with those two things very, very easily and just be done with it. Now, if you're only posting to Facebook, you don't need to use Buffer because Facebook has a scheduling program already built in it for your business page. But if you're posting to various groups and all that stuff at the same time, Buffer is the way to go, unless you are a little bit higher end, and then I would push it towards Agora Pulse. We're almost done. Almost. Next tool. If you have any questions, let me know. Next tool is StreamYard. So I just got into this one recently. StreamYard is the program I'm using right now to live stream this. I used to use another program. It was good, but this has been the easiest. It lets you do all this cool stuff that you've been seeing, things like like that. Now, of course, I built that video and put that in here. StreamYard didn't have that video, but these little overlays that you see there, posting people's comments, putting things like the little StreamYard comment there, all that type of stuff that makes your live stream look great, scheduling out your live streams. I personally just don't think there's anything easier to use. It has very limited options because they just make it easy. I've just been so excited about StreamYard that I'm going live every day now. Just love it for interviewing and bringing guests on. It's amazing. I can share my screen. I was using Zoom before. Then I was sending my Zoom multi-stream through Restream, doing a bunch of stuff like that. And I just come back to StreamYard, and you can get it really cheap. If you want to stream to a bunch of places at once like I do, then you got to spend about $40 a month. But most of you wouldn't spend more than $19 a month. If you're going to go live stream 3 or 4 times a week, and you're going to use more than one platform, like I'm live streaming on YouTube, and you're not just going to use your Facebook Live, this is the way to go, especially if you're going to have guests on and stuff like that, like we do. That's the way to go. If you just want to go live, just use Facebook Live. Okay, it's fine. But if you want to do all this other stuff, then you're going to want to use StreamYard. StreamYard. All right. Next tool. The next tool is, this one may shock you, entrepreneurs, and I'm ashamed that I have to say it, but the next one is Google Calendar. Oh, the shame that I have to tell entrepreneurs to use a calendar. Realtors, I'm talking to you. Got to use a calendar. Oh, it's so painful. I got to take a coffee break. For shame, entrepreneurs, that I have to tell you this, but you've got to use a calendar. Got to use a calendar. Tom, I use everything on paper. So do I. I plan on paper. Nothing wrong with using paper, but you have to have your appointments in an electronic calendar. And here's what you got to understand. You have got to send people appointments for things. If you're going to be meeting with a client or a prospect, I don't care if they use an electronic calendar or not. It's professional. Send them an invite over Google Calendar. If you're going to meet them on Zoom, put the Zoom invite right in there. Learn those tools, guys. The reason why I like Google over Outlook is most people have a Gmail account, so it works really well. The other thing I really like about it is you can have multiple calendars under one Gmail or G Suite is what I use. That way I can have the tom@strongholdtraining.com. You can have multiple calendars there, so you can do calendar overlays. So what that means is I can have like all my appointments on there, then I can have like my personal stuff on there, a different calendar. I could have my networking appointments on there, a different calendar. I could even have my focus blocks as a different calendar and click those calendars and bring them up as overlays. I've seen many people use one Google Calendar and they try to cram everything in there and it gets so busy they can't see anything. Where Google, you don't need to do that. You just have multiple calendars. You can choose which ones you share. It's excellent for collaboration. I really do not understand why entrepreneurs do not use Google Calendar or any electronic calendar at all. And Outlook is fine if you're in an organization where everyone uses Outlook, like a lot of corporations do that, and that's fine. But entrepreneurs, I really think you guys need to be on G Suite using Google Calendar. It's just the way to go. All right. See, I like that little swoosh because I want this to be like Sports Center, just not near as exciting. All right. Our next tool, we are almost done. Next tool is Bitly, B-I-T-L-Y. You probably see that and go, I've seen that before. That's right, because everybody uses Bitly. Bitly is a URL shortener. So if you are posting in social media whatsoever, ever, I don't care if it's just you're just posting little personal things. You're not even an entrepreneur and you've made it this far in my podcast, which is weird. Then I'm going to recommend use Bitly. So you just type that into Google, I believe it's bit.ly.com. Just go to Bitly. I have it bookmarked. That's another tool you guys should be using are bookmarks. So you don't have to go in and type in URLs all the time. I don't understand why people don't bookmark and they leave all their tabs open. Don't leave all your tabs open at the top of your browser. That kills your resources, slows things down, and use bookmarks, right? So I don't mean to say that in a condescending tone. It's just learn to use bookmarks today. If you're not using them and you're keeping 1,000, if you're looking at this right now and you have 1,000 tabs open, you'll thank me later. Learn bookmarks today. But Bitly is a URL shortener. So when you're like copying and pasting web addresses for people to like click and register, or click and go here, or click to watch this thing, you're going to want to take a long URL, an internet address, go to Bitly, put it in there. It'll shorten it. You get the link. It remembers it forever. It doesn't cost anything. And then you can have a nice short link, which helps fit it in your Twitter posts or your Twitter posts, your tweets, your Facebook posts, all that stuff. You just got to shorten it. And there's more than Bitly out there. I just find it to be the easiest to use for me. All right. The next two are what I call optional. I do not personally use the next two, but I have recommended them to many people and I have used them in the past. But basically what I'm going to give you now are the alternatives to Kartra. So if you are like, man, Kartra is just way too much, it's more than I need, no problem. If you just need to make a landing page, okay, pay attention. We live in a day and age where technology is moving so fast, most entrepreneurs can't keep up. So I deal with a lot of entrepreneurs that are my age and older, and they are still thinking sometimes in thoughts that from just 5 years ago, which isn't that big of a deal, but technology moves that fast. So I'll sit down with clients and they'll go, well, I'm getting ready to launch my business. I've been working on my website for a year. I'm like, well, what's your business? And then they tell me their business and it's something that it's not like it really requires a website. And I say, well, you don't need a website. They go, what do you mean? Everyone needs a website. That's what you do. Well, not necessarily. Used to. But all you really need is some sort of landing page. Like, what's a landing page? Well, it's a website, but it's just one page. And for most people, we spend all this time building these complex websites. And realtors, again, I'm talking to you, and you just don't need them. Right? They just don't work. You're never going to get the SEO. You're never going to be on the front page of Google. Most people aren't organically searching for you anyway. But you do need a page to send people to. And my recommendation for those of you who really just need one page that gives people information about your product, check out Lead Pages, which is only like $25 a month. It's extremely easy to use. You don't even have to have any graphic skills at all. Lead Pages is all you need. Or ClickFunnels. Now, ClickFunnels is a little bit more money. ClickFunnels is more like a page that gets people to take actions and opens a cart. Like if you're selling stuff online, ClickFunnels is awesome. It's really impressive. But for many of you, just need a page. Lead Pages is all you need. Now, again, I use Kartra and I do all that stuff in Kartra, but Kartra is $100 a month. I spend $200 a month on it for all the tools in there, but I use it because it has 1,000 tools that I use. If you just need that landing page, you probably do not need a website. You probably don't need to go pay someone $8,000 to build you a website. Most entrepreneurs just need one page in Lead Pages to get started. So check that out. Very easy to use. Won't require hardly any training at all. Drag and drop. Templates already in there. You'll be fine. All right. We're to our last tool. Again, these 3 tools, they all do the same thing I'm going to give you here, are, again, optional tools. I don't use these 3 tools. I used to. I'm using Kartra instead of these 3 tools now. But if you don't need all the features of Kartra, then for emailing, I suggest you check out MailChimp, Aweber, or Constant Contact. And you're probably like, I've already heard of these. Well, that's why I saved it for last. I figured most of you had. But if you're sending all your emails every single day to your list using your Gmail account, it's not going to end well for you. Those should just be for direct emails to a few people at a time. If you have a large list of people and you're going in and you're sending an email to 60 people, first of all, you've hopefully learned not to put them in the CC column, the carbon copy column. Hopefully, at least you're BCCing, blind carbon copying them. But even if you're doing that, if they're dropping you to spam, which if you email 100 people BCC'd, you're likely to get into spam boxes. Eventually what happens is your Gmail address is going to get flagged and no one's going to get your emails. So you need to use an ESP, an email service provider, for those things. MailChimp is got the nice, pretty graphics. It looks really nice. A lot of people use that. Aweber was the predecessor to MailChimp, and it has a lot of great options and some sequencing and things in there that's really good. It's probably still the favorite of a lot of mass emailers. And then, of course, Constant Contact, which is great for frequent advertising and people that are trying to segment their list. A lot of people just prefer that. All three are good. It's really just which one you prefer. I usually recommend MailChimp because it's free and I'm used to it, and I think it looks really nice. Plus, it's really easy to export your lists from there and things like that. It's got lots of new tools. You can even do landing pages in MailChimp now. They're trying to catch up with the ClickFunnels and lead pages of the world, and they're trying to integrate that. So if you're not going to use Kartra, then definitely start using MailChimp. Don't just use your Gmail. That said, I didn't put this on here. Here's a bonus tool. But if you are sending a lot of emails, especially sales emails through your Gmail or Outlook, you're going to want to get Yesware, Yesware. Yesware is an email tracking program. So when I send a proposal to a client, I know if they got the email, I know if they opened the email, I know if they clicked any links, if they downloaded the attachment. It's the big brother of email. And so if you're wondering if someone opened your proposal, if it went to their junk, and you're sitting on pins and needles, with Yesware, that goes away. I just call it a peace of mind thing. Now, I used to use it to pick up the phone and call people like, hey, did you see my proposal? Just opened it up. That's interesting. Yeah, I kind of knew that, right? So Yesware is great for that type of stuff. And again, I didn't have that as one of the feature tools today. But I would definitely recommend, if you're sending proposals to people, that you're going to want to use Yesware. It also integrates with Salesforce. So I recommend it to any sales team that's using Salesforce that they get the Yesware edition, tracks everything nice. But for most of you, MailChimp, Aweber are going to do what you need. All right. For those of you just joining, I'm going to do a 30-second summary of all the tools I said today. Here we go in rapid order, and drop your questions in as I go. First tool was Snappa. That's the easiest way to make social media posts. $15 a month. Snappa. Make social media posts really, really easy, really fast. No graphic talent required. It's what I use. LastPass. Save you from ever having to type in an internet password ever again. Save you hours off your life, probably hundreds of hours out of your life. If you use LastPass and download that, and you'll never have to type a password ever again. Zoom webinars, better than Zoom meetings for large group meetings, because you don't have people coming in without clothes on that you have to mute or dismiss. Kartra, the all-in-one marketing platform. The best thing that ever happened to my business was Kartra. Built my website in it, do all my emailing from it, have all my online trainings in it. I went through that at length. Kartra is my favorite tool in the world. Buffer is an social media scheduling program for all of your posts, $15 a month. Very, very easy to use, not complex. Again, Agorapulse is my favorite, but for most of us, we only need Buffer because we don't need all the fancy stuff Agorapulse does, and Buffer is cheaper. StreamYard, the best live streaming platform I've ever seen, using it right now for this. StreamYard is so incredibly easy and makes you look somewhat professional, even if you're me. Google Calendar, again, ashamed to have to tell entrepreneurs that they need to be using Google Calendar or having a G Suite. But if you are a real business and you are using a Gmail address, all right, again, I don't mean to sound condescending, guys, but if you're a real live business and like you've got a landing page or website or whatever, and you're saying, hey, it's, tomsmith@gmail.com, guys, G Suite is $15 a month. It's $15 a month. And you can have Tom, like I have tom@strongholdtraining.com. It looks more professional. It goes on your business card. And then you have a landing page. You don't need to buy an expensive website. The only reason people don't do that is they go, well, I don't have a website. And what if they were to go to abc.com, whatever my website is? And again, you just get a lead page. It's $25 a month. Build a little landing page. There's a little brochure for your business. Get your G Suite account and have your URL, buy your URL at GoDaddy for $10, and have a URL that points to your landing page and an email address through G Suite. And to me, that's like starting a business 101. You got to do those things. And probably the biggest violators of that are realtors. And again, guys, I know it's not necessary. Like, you've been able to be Patty the Realtor or whatever at gmail.com forever, and who cares? And I get it. It doesn't really matter. But it would just be so much easier if you had a landing page that had some information about you, maybe a few testimonials, and then you were like, Patty at pattytherealtor.com. By the way, I have a client who's in real estate named Patty who does not have a Gmail address. She actually has a real URL. And if I'm wrong about that, Patty, my apologies. I'm not calling you out. All right. The next one in rapid order was Bitly. That's a URL shortener, totally free. Stop posting ridiculously long URLs in your social media posts. Just shorten them at Bitly. They'll be nice and short. People will appreciate that. And you have more room for text, which people will read if they don't have a ton of URL stuff in the way. And then, of course, I mentioned lead pages and ClickFunnels as an alternative to websites, which are kind of becoming a thing of the past unless you're a large business. And then the last one we covered today was MailChimp, Aweber, and Constant Contact as email service providers. Instead of using your Gmail for large email blasts, you'll want to use MailChimp unless you're using Kartra. That was a lot of tools. Maite says, love this content. Thank you, Maite. If anyone else watching has any comments or questions, get them in now. I'm going to take a sip of coffee and come back for 5 minutes of Q&A. Any comments, any questions, want to know about any tools, want my opinion on any tools. I've probably spent money on every single tool out there and can tell you if it's worth the money, so you don't have to find out the hard way. So any comments, any questions, get them in now. And if you're just hanging out, then you should be thinking, if this is helpful, you should be thinking about my private client group. Yeah, I talk about that a lot. Talk about it a lot because it's really helpful. Matter of fact, the first Thursday tactics we did was on these tools, and I went through and actually showed them to you instead of just promoting them. By the way, you're probably thinking, is Tom like an affiliate marketer now? He's talking about all these tools. Is he an affiliate of all those things? No, just one of them. Kartra, I am, but that's the only thing I've ever been an affiliate of. Maite says she'll listen to this again, give a new business. Yeah, and I appreciate that. I actually get quite a few views on the new podcast here, the video podcast of Growing Smart. Used to have just an audio one, but I know I'm going live at awkward parts of the day. I'm not going to get as many people on here live as I'd probably like, but over time, I hope that changes. And that's what you guys should be thinking too. You got to get content going. As a matter of fact, there's a guy, his name's Malcolm Reed. He's a competitive barbecue guy, and he does YouTube recipes for barbecue, and it's called How to Barbecue Right. He just hit 1 million subscribers on YouTube. And to be fair, he got into it early when people were still like subscribing pretty frequently. Now people are a little bit more loath to hit the subscribe button, but he was showing off his 1 million subscribers award yesterday. And that's a big achievement. He's come a long way. But what I loved about his story is, like, I started watching him 5 years ago. So he's been doing YouTube videos for 10 years. And it started out when it was easier to get subscribers, and he just hit 1 million. And his content early on was good, but the lighting was bad. The video looked bad, but his content was good. His passion was there. He stayed consistent. And now 10 years later, the guy's got 1 million subscribers. And we got to keep that in mind. When you first get into any business, entrepreneurially, any startup, you've got to stay consistent and stay persistent. To quote another guy who has like 10 million YouTube subscribers, Jeff Cavalier, success or results is a simple formula: intensity plus consistency. Now, he's talking about working out, being intense and consistent. Make every rep count and regularly work out, not just get your 12 reps in as easy as possible and let it go. And so that also applies to business. Intensity plus consistency equals results. And the only thing I add to that is strategy plus intensity plus consistency equals results. And that is how I built what I call the predictable success formula that I train in my private client group. And that is also why I like to focus on digital prospecting as a way to get more clients. Because as entrepreneurs, we spend most of our time serving our clients and not working on our business. And so if you can transition some of your sales to a digital platform where you can have successful email marketing and social media content and things like that to warm up an audience and then convert that audience to appointments in an automated, predictable way, you're going to be better off. Now, of course, the old school stuff still works the best. Making phone calls and things like that really, really work well. But over time, you will plateau. So you can hire people to do that stuff for you, or you can transition some of it to the online world. And if you're at all interested in learning how to not be a digital marketer, but to be a digital prospector, which means just enough internet marketing to get your clients to set appointments with you, not necessarily do all this fancy stuff, but just enough, then I would suggest you check out, once again, yeah, it's a lot of promotion of it, but we are about to hit 1 month since I launched it. A ton of content in the vault right now to get in and get all that stuff for free. So you will be able to get a month's worth of all of this type of stuff for free. Well, not for free, but you join the private client group, you pay, and then you'll be able to access everything we did for the past month, as well as everything we're doing now. Yes, thank you for typing that in the comments, Maite. Intensity plus strategy plus consistency equals results. Very, very true. Appreciate you hanging out with me today. We are winding this thing down. I have literally 2 minutes left before it kicks me off. So if you have a question, get it in now. Otherwise, we will sign off here in just 1 second. Last chance for comments. Hey, appreciate you guys hanging with me. This was a long one. That's why I did that summary at the end, but I suggest you go through it, even if you have to fast forward. Of course, if you're at this point, then you just fast forward it to the end. Go back to the beginning, check out the tools. It'll be the best 30 to 45 minutes you've spent in a long time. I promise you'll get all that time back. If you implement LastPass, you'll get this time back for sure. Buffer, Snappa, those programs are going to save you so much time and headache as an entrepreneur. You will thank me that I did that for you, just as I need to thank all the people who recommended those tools to me at one time. They have been lifesavers. Those are the tools that are indispensable. Even if I didn't have a business, I would keep them. That's how good they are. So thank you guys for hanging out. Really appreciate those of you who watch this program. I'm going to keep doing it until you force me to stop. See you on the next Growing Smart.